All right, welcome in. Let me get rid of that little notification there. I got my camera hooked up. I use my phone for my camera, so I get that little notification sometimes. I forget to turn it off. I have been the last couple weeks. But welcome into the weekly mixing stream here. We are mixing a song called You're Still the One. It is a Shania Twain cover we are working on here today. And as always, the link at the top of the chat or the top of the description. You can download the multi-tracks for this song completely for free. So then you can follow along, you can mix along with me on the stream here, or you can come back, you can mix along with the replay. All the replays stay up. There's so many other multi-tracks on that page as well. There's over a year now worth of these weekly mixing streams, so you can grab any of the multi-tracks that you want and follow the link back to the stream as well. So you can mix along with me if you'd like. Otherwise, just use any of them for your own mixing practice. This is going to be kind of an interesting track. I had like an instrumental mix up kind of before we did the vocals and the lead guitar. So those are kind of the two things left to mix, but I think we're going to kind of tear or turn things off and kind of mix through it fresh. Sometimes for me, it's weird mixing a song and then coming back to it and trying to finish it. I'd rather be in it from the get-go. So I think we're going to kind of turn things off here and mix it fresh. We'll kind of nuke this limiter here for a moment. So no parallel, nothing like that. We'll pull this down, kind of see where we want to end up with that. I do have the rest of my bus processing in place here. We'll just get rid of that limiter. I've got the console shaper on. This is just all the way down at 0. The drive is the only thing turned on. No noise, no crosstalk. And then next I have my mix bus compressor using the PreSonus Brit Comp here. It's their SSL style bus compressor. 30 millisecond attack, 100 millisecond release, 2-to-1 ratio. I've got the threshold at negative 1.6, and then I've got a dB of makeup gain because we'll be hitting about 2 or so dB reduction with that. The end of my mix A chain, which is where I'm doing my mix bus processing here, I have the soft tube tape machine. I've got the amount at 5.1, so pretty much kind of sitting between 5 and 3 here is my goal on the VU meter. The color type is on the B type because it gives me the most bottom end warmth on the track, I feel like. So I like to start there. And then 30 IPS on the tape speed. Mix B, which was turned on, I clicked it off, is some parallel processing we'll do on the entire mix. I like to sneak that in at the end. So I kind of want to get the track finished up here before we do that. And then on the mix bus, which is where mix A and mix B are both sending into, I have a limiter bumping everything up by 6 dB into a negative 1 dB ceiling. Just a little bit of mastering style limiting. This isn't something I keep on when I do export the mix here. I will disable this, but it gives me that mastering level and that mastering limiting. But you can see I pull my main output down by 6 dB to compensate there. So let's kind of go through here. I'm just going to turn everything off. We don't have anything on the vocal. And we're going to kind of move through this fresh. That way, we're not trying to blend vocals into something that's already finished. That's always harder. It's kind of like mixing vocals to a 2-track, which is it's very, very difficult to begin with. Let's pull the sun plate down, or maybe just mute it for now. And pull these off. All right, so we'll pull everything down here, and we'll just start with our kick drum. Let me kind of mute everything out as well so we're not fighting all these other instruments as we're mixing along here. Organ, vocals, background vocals, excuse me. So we should have just our kick drum here to start now. All right, our first limiter, we've got it at negative 10. Let's kind of see where that's sitting. On some of the bigger sections here, the bigger hits. So we've got like 2.5 there. That should be fine. And then the next one is at 12, so 2 down from there. Gets our kick at a good even point here. First EQ, we've got 2 ringing frequencies. Let's see where these are at. One more there that was bothering me. So we've got a high pass, notching out these couple frequencies that are ringing out on the kick drum. That's feeling good. Let's move on to our compressor here. Pull that down maybe a click. That's feeling good there. Doing about 8.5 dB reduction there, 30 millisecond attack, 60 millisecond release. So the 30 millisecond attack gives us enough time that that front end trans, you know, the kick drum comes through, so we emphasize the attack. So listen here as I bypass and kick this back in. You can hear we lose some bottom end, obviously, with the compressor. But we kick it in, we get more attack out of it. Release, we just want to set in time. So it's moving in time with our kick drum there. Let's come back here. We're at 19.2. Let's boost this up and kind of see if we end up around the same place. Adding top end to our kick drum. I like that to start. We'll probably need it though when we add in the bottom here. 5.7. Let's see where we're at here. A little rumbly. That's feeling good. So we kind of just added that extra notch, a little bit extra compression. Here's our snare drum for the track, so more of a roll on the snare drum. So let's get our limiters in place here. About 2.5 there. Same thing, down to 12. I was going to say, I'm hoping this first EQ has some of those ringing frequencies pulled out. Let's... One more there that I'm hearing. All right, let's get our compressor on here. I like that. What if we turn the harmonics up? Cool. Let's give it some tops. We're at 6.72. Let's kind of see if we agree with that. Add some mids here, kind of even things out. And then I got a little limiter here, just doing some safety work. There's another ringing frequency I'm hearing. Kind of around there. I'm tempted to do this. Yeah, I don't mind that. Here's our overheads. These might be okay as they were. So we've got a high pass here. And then pulling out a lot of low mids here. I might want to grab some of the cymbal there. Let's find that. Yeah, that's a little harsh. Much smoother. Let's check on our toms here. This is probably pretty close to where we're going to end up. Not bad. Okay, and then we've got this limiter afterwards just to control and make sure things don't get too crazy. That way we get a better level on them overall. And then here's our room mic. So we're gonna roll off a little bit of sub, a little bit of top, or a lot of top end here. I don't want a lot of cymbals coming through on the mono room mic at least, and then a huge cut around 400. So you can see we're emphasizing that fundamental hit and some of this mid-range area. All right, we need some bottom here on the snare. Much better on the snare. I'm digging that for our drum sound. We're gonna do a little bit of bus processing. Let's actually try. I'm curious. Let's try the 160 XT on the bus. This is probably crazy, but let's try it. Let's pull it down to 2-to-1. And let's pull this up and kind of just see. I'm not mad about that. I don't know if it's the harmonics that are just. I like it. Let's listen one more time. That's really nice. And then a little bit of clipping. It feels bigger. It does. We're gonna roll with that. I like that. I really like that. Just a little bit of compression on the bus with that 160 style compressor. It's just adding a ton of vibe to the drums. I really like what it's doing to the kick and snare. It gives them more energy. Here's our bass. So on this first guy here, let's just start with the high pass. About 10 dB reduction here, really hitting hard on the compressor. I want to see if maybe we can pull one of these guys in for... our top end, but we'll mess with that in a second. Let's get our... So using the multi-bend to control the bottom end here. I don't mind a little bit of breakup. All right, let's try this for some mids. I want to add a little bit of 7. Here we're adding like 3 at 7 and 9 at 4K. I kind of like that. Let's compare it to this, though. Ooh, I like that top end boost better, though. Ooh, I like the naturally... I like the regular EQ better without the vibe. All right, let's get our bottom right. So let's see here. We've got about 6.5 at 80. And then we added some mids here. This was probably a referencing choice, but... I like it, though. So sometimes adding a little bit, like an octave above the fundamentals. So we're at 80 here, so we would have 160 or so, and then up from there we would be around 300 or 400 would be the next octave up from there. So adding a little bit here in the low mids can kind of help your bass cut through better on smaller speakers. So listen one more time. It makes a big difference, just 2 dB here. Just that 2 dB. Now here, I've got a bass distortion track, which is just literally the DI duplicated. All the bottom end is wiped off here. And then I'm crushing it with red light distortion. 2 on the distortion, 2 on the input. Second stage here, all the way up on the drive, and then all the way down on the output. So we're going to blend this in on the bass, get some more top end out of it. I like that around 17. It's enough grit that we can hear it. But not too overpowering here. Let's keep moving. Now this piano, I really fought with the first time we did it, and I just kind of ended up with this giant boost in the top end. So let's see how we're looking here. Now on first listen here, you might think it sounds muddy. But look where our roll-off starts at like 1K. So we're severely lacking top end. You know what? We just tried it. I'm curious how it'll sound on the piano. So let's give it a shot here. Why not? So we like this. I definitely like the 1176 more. It gives it more energy. All right, we're at 14.5 dB here. Let's see if we still like that. And then we've got the multiband here to control some of that top. At the end here, we've got a little bit like 1.5K. So we'll look at that. But let's add some bottom here at 141. Hello there in the chat. Glad to see a Studio One user. I love Studio One. I think Studio One's the best. I started on Pro Tools. I don't know. I think Studio One's so much more user friendly. I'm excited to try the newer version when they get some of the bugs worked out. I see people have been having problems with automation and mixdown and stuff like that. Since I use it every day, I've never been one to upgrade right away, especially because I don't need a bug in my everyday life. So wait until they fix some of that stuff in the first update or so. But I'm excited to try the new Fender version of Studio One. Yeah, or Studio Pro. Yeah, Fender Studio Pro. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to try it at some point. Just probably wait until the first version when they fix some of these bugs. The automation one's a big one. Not having automation on Mixdown would be a nightmare. And I heard they changed the plugin open to a single click instead of a double click. That'll probably be a nightmare for me as well. But I'm excited about the rest of the stuff. The new Reverb plugin looks awesome. Here's our acoustic. Let's take care of some of that woofiness with the high pass here. I'm curious now. I don't know. We're just on an expedition of trying this 160 on everything. I still like the 1176 better there. Let's add a little bit of top here up on the top end. So you did upgrade. You upgraded for the amp sims. Yes, the amp sims look really, really good. I mean, they're by Fender. You can't argue with having a bunch of awesome Fender amps. That's just really, really cool, especially built in. Haven't tried the automation yet. The single click is a pain in the butt. No. Oh, man. I figured it would be. It's such a small thing. I've seen in some of the groups people are saying, you know, it's whatever. But, I think it's going to be a nightmare. I don't know. I'm glad you like the amp sims, though. That's promising. Let's add some top here. I like that. A little bit of mids. I really like that. Let's control it a little bit with the multiband. Make sure we're not overdoing the top end. Let's see how that blends with the piano. Very, very nice. All right, let's get this kind of sneaky little mandolin part in there. These are like the oldest strings you could possibly ask for on this mandolin. You said you just keep double clicking. It'll take you a while. I'm glad the videos are helping you. Thank you for saying that. I always like to hear that these are helpful. That I'm not just doing this for me for no reason. I'm glad these are helpful for you. That's why I like to do these streams. This is what I wanted to see when I was learning, just someone mixing songs instead of just a bunch of random tips sometimes. So I'm glad they're helpful for you. And I wish you lots of luck on your journey of unlearning the double click. Jeez, the drums sound huge. The harmonics from the compressor on the drums is so beefy. I love it. We've got this little kind of like piece of ear candy going into each of the choruses. Let me do the actual rhythm guitar part first here. I'm curious about maybe hitting that first piece with a limiter. Can we get it though? Maybe. I like that, but it's not bad. All right, let's look at our EQ here. High pass and low pass first. Once again, we're going to try this DBX. It's just something we're exploring today, I guess. That's so much compression, but let's dial it back a little bit. Okay, so let's compare here. Here's the DBX emulation. I still love the Everest. So that DBX is losing on everything except for drums today. This is one of my favorite guitar compressors. Let's give it some top here. It's super, super pointy in the record. Does the mandolin play a couple of dud notes? It probably does play a couple of dud notes, but shh, you won't hear it inside of the mix. These are like, the mandolin we have overhanging on the wall is like the oldest, most beaten down strings on it. They're so difficult to play, but we have never bought new mandolin strings, so we had to put it in. We did our best with it here. He's just there for some percussive top end. Shh, nobody knows. All right, let's give this guitar some point. I want to hear that first part too. Okay, we have enough top end on the single notes now. Let's use the multiband to control the top end on that first strum there. Okay, I'm digging that guitar. Let's kind of match it with the other one here. This is like a little bit of ear candy just going into each of the chorus sections. When would you use a multi-band compressor? So you can kind of see here, I use it a lot on things like guitars, mainly for top end control. So if you just need to compress a certain band of frequencies, that's when you would use a multi-band instead of a regular compressor. A regular compressor is just broadband. It compresses the entire frequency range. But a multi-band, you can compress just a certain frequency range. So think of it as like a de-esser for other instruments. So I'll walk you through it here on this instrument. So we're going to do a little bit of EQ first. He's a little woofy, isn't he? Okay, then some compression. So regular compression is just squeezing this all together. Okay, let's give it some top here. Maybe a touch of that mid-range there. I like that. But now, so since I've boosted top end, the top end can get a little bit hissy or a little bit harsh on guitars, especially electric guitars. So I like to pull in a multi-band compressor. And we're just looking at this band 1K and above here. So just the top end and the high mids here. And I've got it set 20-to-1, fastest attack and fastest release. And we're just going to compress down the top end, kind of even it out with the rest of the frequency range and make sure the top end never gets overbearing. So you can see we're just tapping that top end to keep it even with the rest of the frequency range here. So a little bit of compression just to make sure it doesn't get too harsh. Let's match it with the other guitar here. I hope that makes sense on the multiband. You probably saw we used it on the rhythm guitar because the rhythm guitar is playing these single notes and then it comes in for that big strum. So I needed more top end on the single notes, but then when I boosted all this top end, excuse me, at the beginning of the chain to get that bite on the single notes, the front end, the big strum, was way too top end heavy. So that's where our multiband comes in. We can compress down that top end to keep it even from the strums to the single note trail. Okay, cool. Sounding good there. I'm happy with the electric guitars. We'll mess with the lap steel in a second. Cool. I'm glad you can hear that. Awesome. You said harshness from hats and guitars has you stumped. Yeah. So try the multi-band on things like guitars, acoustic guitars, electric guitars. You can try it on. For cymbals, what I find works best for harshness, which I did a little bit on the overheads here, is notching out any offensive frequencies. So on the overheads here, you can, if I get rid of this, you can see on the downbeat cymbal hit there, there's this big spike around 4K. That's where the harshness is coming from there. So if you just create a really, really narrow EQ band and sweep around for that frequency, that ring on the cymbal hit, that's causing the harshness on the cymbal. So just notching that out can really smooth things out. That's what I find works best for cymbals. Sometimes the multiband can get caught by other things in drums, so it gets a little bit complicated, but just an EQ notch seems to work. Let's look at this organ here. Let's give it a high pass first here. And then actually, you know what I'm curious about? What if we use the harmonics on this? No, this Fairchild emulation I use keeps it moving still. So I think we're gonna stick with that there. I feel like I still get more of the up and down movement. Yeah, only doing almost 3, maybe 5 dB reduction. Let's add some top here though. There's some of that rotor sound. More of the distortion on the bass. Adding a little bit of this plate reverb on the snare. I'm hearing another... A little bit of harshness there on the cymbals. That guitar needs something else, doesn't it? It's not doing what I want it to. Okay, that felt way better. Just to click up on the top end, and that was good. All right, let's kind of get our vocal going here. Run to the one that I belong. You're still the one I run to. The weather, we're still together, still go. You're still the one I run to. The one that I belong. You're still the one that I to. The one that I belong to. You're still the one I want. Love, the only one I dream. Love, the only one I dream. Oh, you're still the one I run to. The one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh, you're still the one that... Lots of compression on vocals. I like using lots of compression on vocals, especially if it's a more characterful, is that a word? Characterful compressor. We're using it. It's a word today. Especially if it's a more characterful compressor like this, that's going to add vibe and it's going to add energy to the performance. That's what we're after here. We're trying to emphasize the energy and the character of the performance here. Just for kicks, let's try the DBX. We're using the 1176. Let's try the DBX here. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh, you're still the one that I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one I kiss. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh, you're still the one that I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one that you're still the one that I love. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to.
You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life.
I don't mind it. It's not bad, but I like the...
You're still the one I run to.
Let's try this. Let's create a Vox parallel. And let's throw this on there, and let's try blending in some of that harmonic distortion. So let's just call it harmonic distortion bus. And we're going to send from the vocal, but in a second. Let's finish the vocal, and then we'll mess with blending in some saturation. But let's turn this on, and let's go to 400% on the 100 times on the harmonic. So we'll see what that does there.
You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh, you're still the one that I love.
Let's give it some top end here.
You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life.
DS it.
You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. One I want. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh, you're still the one that I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one I kiss goodnight. You're still the one I to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh, you're still the one that I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one I kiss. You're still the one I run to.
All right, let's see what that sounds like blended underneath our vocal. I'm curious.
You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh, you're still the one that I love, the only one I. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong.
I kind of love that. Michael, hello from Germany. Welcome in. We're having fun with a DBX compressor today. We've been trying it on everything, throwing it into different scenarios. So, yeah, let's see how it sounds in the verse. The verse is a little bit mellower.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. We might have took the long way. We knew we'd get there someday. They said, I bet never make it, but just look at us holding on. We're still together, still going strong. Yeah. You're still the one I want to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one that I love.
I really love that. Wow.
The only one I dream of.
And that's what it sounds like by itself, but it adds so much energy to the vocal.
You're still the one I kiss goodnight. Ain't nothing better. We be the odds together. I'm glad we didn't listen. Look at what we would be missing. They said, I bet they'll never make it, but just look at us holding on. We're still together, still going strong. Oh, you're still the one I want, going strong. Yeah. You're still the one I want to, the one that I want. Yeah. You're going strong. Yeah. You're still the one I want to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life.
Wow, I just love I love that extra harmonic saturation on the vocal. I can't get over how good that sounds. My ears could be lying to me too. It could sound horrific, and we'll find out right now when I reference if it actually sounds horrific and I've ruined the vocal and I'm crazy. Sometimes we find that out. We are an hour and as a mix engineer, would you consider it your job to put a slightly out of time vocal in proper time, or would that be messing with what the artist wants to sound like? Okay, so that's a complex kind of question. I would consider it your job to make the song sound the best it can. It's kind of an old pensado thing, though, that you're not like sculpting this song, you're finishing the project. So it's like, if you think of it like a tag race, right? Like one person starts it and then they hand the baton off to you, and then you do, your part. It's not like you're trying to like, oh, I have to show this person how good I can make their song sound. It's kind of like you're finishing the race for them. They do their part, then you do your part. So if it's what they want, sometimes you have to bend a little bit. There's things you'll have to do if this is your profession, that you're mixing and artists are giving you their songs and then they're paying you to work on their songs. Sometimes you have to bend a little bit on what you want to do, right? I would want to put a vocal in time. I would want to pitch correct a vocal if it was out of tune. But sometimes, like if you get like maybe a 60s or 70s rock band, they might want it to sound natural. They might want to play live off the floor to no click, right? So you'll have some timing issues sometimes with that. If it's like, a 3 or a 4-piece rock band, they come in, they play live off the floor. Maybe they have some timing issues. Maybe there's some pitch issues in the vocal. Harmonies come in early, stuff like that. But that might be their sound. So sometimes you gotta do what's best for the song, and not what's best for your head or pleasing maybe like your ego or something. To like, oh, I want to make this song sound better. It'd be better to a click. It'd be better with the vocal in time or the vocal pitch corrected. Sometimes it's the vibe and the character and the meaning of the band and the song over what would be perfect, right? That was like way too long of an explanation, but I hope that makes sense. Referencing. This is where we were. We're over an hour into the stream here, so this is where we find out if my ears are lying to me and they're tired, or if we're on point. Sometimes we're on point, and sometimes my ears are tired and they're lying to me when we're like with this harmonic distortion track. That could be awful, and we're about to find out right now. So this is the frequency reference trick, the EQ reference trick. What we're going to do is we're going to go frequency range by frequency range, and we're going to reference. I have two reference tracks I always listen to, and then I have the original track in here as well, which we'll reference. So 90s country, there'll be some things we can take from that. There'll be some things we want to leave behind in the 90s there. We're going to start by looking at 50 hertz and below here, and I've bumped my volume up to 0, and I'm actually going to go 60 dB above 0. So if you're listening on subs or if you're listening on bigger speakers, you might want to pull your volume back here because it's going to get way louder. I'm listening on a headphone, so I really want to zone in on the bottom end here. That's why I'm cranking it up, but it's going to be louder if you've got, especially if you've got a sub going here. So let's kind of take a listen here. 50 hertz and below. I've flipped to mono here. We're going to check our bottom end against my reference tracks and against the original mix here, the original song. Ooh, so we need to be right here to stay with our reference track. I feel like we could use more bottom, but I'm going to check the frequency range above before. You saw me touch the kick drum there and then put it back. I don't want to boost the overall kick drum if it's not a volume problem and it's just a sub problem. So let's listen 50 hertz to 100 hertz. Okay, I boosted the bass up a little bit on the kick drum here. I like this frequency range, so we're going to check the sub one more time, and I think we're just going to add a touch of sub to the kick drum. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Half dB at 40 hertz. That gave me the bottom end energy I want on the kick drum. Back down to 0 here on the main out. And we're going to jump way up now and look at the super top end. So 8K and above. I kind of like to confuse my ears a little bit here so they don't get too used to one frequency range. We're going to listen to the top end here, check our vocal, and yeah, kind of see where that's sitting. Backed out the top end on the snare a little bit. Pulled just the distortion track on the vocal back a little bit. Let's check wide. I'm digging the top end. I'm a little back and forth on the vocal. The original versus my reference track, so we'll see here. I'm not liking it. I'm gonna nuke it. I like the kick and snare though. Now I'm gonna leave the top end there. Cool, let's keep moving down. If we put everything in and the top end on the vocals still bugging us, we can just pull it back a little bit, no big deal. I like the snare. Vocal might be a bit much there, we'll see. Snare sounds good. I like the stereo spectrum as well. Oh, I like the vocal there. Snare sounds good too. Digging that there. We might be able to add a little bit to the piano here as we get down. Let's kind of see where we're sitting in the last little frequency range here. No, that feels great down there. All right, so let's turn this back off. Let's kind of see where we're sitting.
You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. Is good night, good night. Oh, you're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. We might have took a look at us holding on. We're still together.
Got our little lap steel solo. Let's kind of compress the bottom here too. Okay, let's look at the backgrounds here. These are kind of put in from... I have a habit of mixing background vocals as I record them. They just sound better that way. So let me run you through just each of these here. Here's the first one.
You still
High pass, boost in the top, boost in the high mids, compressor.
To what I want for life.
The de-esser on all of these is going to be hitting really, really hard. Each of these are a pair, so that's copied over to this guy. That's the first two. Here's the second pair. Same thing. High pass is a little higher, though. Bigger mid-range boost. Top end boost. 10 dB reduction. Taking care of those S's. That's the second pair. And here's our last pair. Put them both in. Top end boost, mid-range boost. High pass is rolled up even further. Cool, then we put them all together. Let's blend some effects in on the vocals now. So both of these are sending to this Lexicon plate reverb. And we got a little slap delay on the lead vocal as well. So let's kind of see where these are sitting here. Here's the slap delay.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. We might have took the long way.
We knew we'd get there
someday. They said, I bet they'll never make it, but just look at us holding on. We're still together, still going strong.
right, last chorus here now. We're going to do a little bit of clipping on the mix bus, and then we're going to add in the parallel chain here. So first things first, on the mix bus here, I'm going to put a limiter. We're going to do just a touch of clipping.
You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh, you're still the one that I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one I kiss goodnight. I'm so glad we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby.
Cool. So that little bit of clipping on the mix bus here, make sure that as we send into the parallel, there's no kind of spikes that jump above the rest of the track here. So on the parallel, sending from mix A full signal into this mix B bus here, I've got this 33609 style compressor, 100 millisecond recovery, thresholds at -10. So we're going to be doing about 7 to 10 dB reduction here. So I've got the output gain at 8, 2-to-1 ratio. But after that, I've got this Neve style compressor adding 3 dB at 60 and 3 dB at 7K. So a little heat, a little shine on the top, and we're going to blend this up underneath the track here. So I'm going to loop this chorus.
You're still the one I
Inch it up in mono here.
the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I
So that's what it sounds like.
the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh, you're still the one that I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one I kiss goodnight. I'm so glad.
All right, I'm liking it. So we're going to go back to the beginning here, and I'm going to click this up to 0. So I'm going to listen at full volume. I'm going to pull back the volume on the stream here. You'll be listening at the same volume. I've been listening about 6 dB quieter than the stream the whole time, just because I don't want to kill my ears, but I don't want you to hear my voice just towering over this mix, because sometimes I mix a little bit quiet. But we're up at 0 now, listening at full volume. And I'm going to do 2 listen throughs. I'm going to do one on the headphones at full volume here, and then I'm going to switch and do one on the mains here in the room. And we're going to finish this up, see if there's any tweaks we need to make. Usually I'll hear any kind of harshness that comes through when I listen on the mains here in the room, but one listen through here on the headphones to start.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. We might have took the long way, but we knew we'd get there someday. They I'm so glad we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby.
Okay, I'm digging that. The only thing I did was I snuck in a little bit of this stereo delay on the vocal, on the lead vocal. But other than that, everything else sounded really, really good. I heard a little bit of click bleed from the acoustics, I think, at the end. So I'm just going to take the fade here on the acoustics and just inch it down. A little bit more. And maybe pull it in. Pull it in one. All right, I can dig that. We'll move the end marker back a touch there. Perfect, perfect. All right, cool. I'm happy with how it's sounding on headphones. Let's see how it sounds on the speakers here in the room. So this is where we'll see if there's any harshness left over on things like the vocal and the lead guitar. All right, I got my mains turned on here. So I'm going to mute my mic. We're going to do one final listen through here and see how everything is sounding on this track. I might be pausing a little bit through. If I have to attack any harshness, I'll unmute my mic and I'll kind of let you know what's going on. But let's take a listen here. I think my two main concerns that I'm going to be watching out for are harshness on the lead vocal and harshness on that solo. But let's take a listen. All right, a couple things I've already done here so far. There was a little bit of ringing going on the piano here. So I've pulled that down. It's at 3.85K. Notched that out. And then there were two on the vocal that were ringing so far, 3.71K and 4.06K. Pulled those down, clicked the vocal up a little bit. Let's kind of listen one more time from the beginning. I think we should be okay now.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. We might have took the long way. We knew we'd get there someday. They said, I bet they'll never make it, but just look at us holding on. We're still together, still going strong. Yeah. You're still the one I want to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one that I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one I kiss goodnight. Ain't nothing better. Ain't nothing better. We beat the odds together. I'm glad we didn't odds together. I'm glad we didn't listen. Look at what we would be missing. They said, I bet they'll never make it, but just look at us holding on. We're still holding on. We're still together. We're still at us holding on. We're still together, still going strong. Oh, you're still the one I want to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one that I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one I kiss goodnight. how far we've come, my baby.
Okay, we got a full listen through there. Brian, hey, welcome into the stream. Hope you're doing well there. Hope you're not getting had. I thought I saw something you posting about the new Studio One, so I hope you're not getting had by the new Fender Studio One. I've had a couple people in the chat say they were, but I think we're okay here with the track. There were a couple pieces, couple frequencies that were poking out. There was a couple on the piano we found. There was one during the second verse section or the post-chorus pre-chorus section that we ended up pulling out, and then one in the intro. So tame the piano a little bit. The lap steel actually sounded good. I mean, I pulled it down a half dB, and then I actually boosted the organ during the solo section just because they're playing complementary parts. And then there were just those couple harsh frequencies on the vocal that we ended up pulling down, and then boosting the overall vocal up. But other than that, I think it sounds really, really good. I like where the bass is sitting. I messed with the distortion track on the bass a little bit. But other than that, I really, really like where it's sitting. So I think we are going to call that. Oh, Brian, you just had back surgery. Well, I hope you're recovering from your back surgery and that you kind of get back on your feet relatively quickly. I hope recovery goes well for you there. I know that can be super, super intense, back surgery. That's a tough one. And as a musician, I don't know how that affects playing for you right off the bat. You're probably not playing right off the bat, so I'm sure that's really, really tough. I know anytime I'm away from my instrument, super, super anxious to get back to it. Even if I just get like a cold or something and I can't sing for a few days, it really, really bothers me. So back surgery, that's super, super intense. So I hope you recover quickly and that you can get back to playing relatively quickly. Because I know music can be a huge part of your life. But yeah, I think we are going to call it there for the track. I'm really, really happy with how it sounds on the headphones, on the speakers here. Make sure you grab the Multitracks. As always, the link at the top of the chat and the top of the description. Hard to stand long, but sitting and playing is fine. Oh, awesome! I'm glad you can still play, because that would kill me if I couldn't play for any longer than like a week or something. I would lose my mind. So I'm glad you're still able to play. Yeah, of course. Wishing you well with your recovery there. But yeah, we are gonna call it here on this one. Make sure you grab the Multitracks link at the top of the chat, top of the description. You can download the Multitracks completely for free. You can mix along with the stream here. There's so many other Multitracks on that page as well. It links back to all of the streams, so grab any ones that interest you. Go back to the stream. You can mix along with the replay, or you can just use any of them for your own mixing practice as well. I'm super, super happy with how this one came out here. So we are going to end the stream here. I try to do these every week, Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time here in the U.S. I think we were a couple minutes late. Sometimes it varies by 5 or 10 minutes, making coffee or what have you. But yeah, that's going to do it here for this one. Thank you so much for joining me here for another stream. And I will see you very, very soon in another video.